Dipama, Chapter 12, In the Presence of a Master, Questions and Answers. The following questions and answers were recorded in interviews with Dipama in India in the 1970s and at Insight Meditation Society in the 1980s. How do I practice Vipassana, insight, meditation? Sit with your back straight. Close your eyes and follow the rising and falling of the abdomen as you breathe. Feel the breath. When you watch the breathing in and out, ask yourself, where's the touch of the breath? Keep your mind on the touch only. You are to do nothing with the breathing, only feel the touch. If it is heavy, let it be heavy. If it is short, let it be short. If it is fine, let it be fine. Just feel it. When your mind wanders away, notice this and say to yourself, thinking, and then come back again to the rising and falling of the breath. If you feel a sensation somewhere else, like pain in the leg, then take your mind to the pain and note pain. And when it goes away or fades, then come again to watching the touch of the breath. If restlessness comes, note restlessness. If you hear a noise, say to yourself, hearing, hearing. Then come back again to the feeling of the breath. If memories come, know them as memories. Anything you see, anything that comes to your mind, just be aware of it. If you see visions of lights, just note seeing or lights. There is no need to keep any of it, to make it stay. Simply observe. In insight meditation, you are observing the rising and falling of the breath and the phenomena that arise in the mind and body. So there is a shifting of the mind from sensations felt, both painful and pleasurable, to thoughts as well. Whatever is happening to be noticed, then that will go away, and another thing will come. In this way, insight practice is a method of observation. All six senses, the mind being the sixth, will arise. Just watch them rise and pass away and come back to the feeling of the breath. Anything you see, anything that comes to mind, just be aware of it. What is the purpose of insight meditation? The purpose of insight meditation is to eliminate the 10 fetters, which are the knots or obstructions in your mind. Very slowly, by observing every moment with awareness, you come to open these knots. The 10 fetters are self-illusion, that is, the illusion of a separate self, doubt, attachment to rites and rituals, lust, ill will, craving for fine material existence, conceit, restlessness, ignorance. At each stage of enlightenment, slowly, one by one, some of the fetters are extinguished, until the 4th stage, or arahantship, when all the fetters are gone. The fetters are related to birth in the same way that oil feeds the light of a lamp. The fetters are like oil in your mind. As the oil becomes less and less, the light from the wick becomes less and less. Finally, when the oil is gone, the light is gone. Once they are extinguished, the cycle of rebirth ends. From this, you can understand that birth and rebirth are in your hands. What should I do if I fall asleep during my sitting practice? There is no harm in this. Yogis sometimes sleep in this way. It is called yogi sleep. This happens. Don't worry about it. When I first started doing meditation, I was always crying because I wanted to follow the instructions with full vigor and enthusiasm, but I could not due to sleepiness. I could not even do standing and walking meditation properly due to sleepiness. For 5 years prior to this time, I had tried to sleep, but could not. And now here I was, trying to do meditation, and sleepiness was keeping me from it. I was using my full energy to drive away the sleepiness, but still I could not do it. Then one day, all of a sudden, I came to such a state that my sleepiness disappeared, and no sleep came to me, even if I sat for some hours. Is karma like an accounting record that is stored? If so, where is it stored? Everybody has the wheel of karma. It is in your own hands. Nobody can store it. As you act, it is stored. It flows on with the stream of consciousness. The day you take birth, this karma comes with you. Others can only show you the way. They cannot change your karma. No one can willfully take on the karma of another. You have to do the work. Because of karma, some people progress quickly, and some progress slowly in meditation. Some have a lot of pain, and some don't. If there is no soul, then who sees, hears, and knows? Wisdom. What should one do when energy and effort are low? Sometimes the energy will be low. Sometimes the energy will be high. Sometimes the effort will be low. Sometimes the effort will be high. But you are to note only low energy, low effort. If you notice it when it is low, automatically it will be corrected. No low energy or high energy until a sort of medium energy, medium effort is there. It should be done quietly, slowly, and with ease. Energy and effort are regulated by noticing them. One should not be a victim of energies. How can you love and not attach at the same time? A simple example is that of water. Non-attachment means you flow on top of the water. You don't plunge into it. You stay afloat without going under. Is it true that a meditator needs a vegetarian diet? The question of vegetarian or non-vegetarian does not matter. What matters is the mentality. Even if you take a vegetarian diet, with a mind polluted with greed or hatred or delusion, your vegetarian diet will become a non-vegetarian diet. This is what the Buddha taught. If your mind is free from greed and hatred, your non-vegetarian diet will become a vegetarian diet for you. For any action, physical, verbal, or mental, the Buddha gave the importance to intention. Sometimes I feel suicidal and depressed. Depression and suicidal feelings are a disease. It happens sometimes even to a highly developed meditator. Try to develop a practical outlook. On the one hand, you must know the result of committing suicide. It is an act from which you cannot rescue yourself for many successive rebirths. Also try to remember that human life is most precious. Don't waste it. Better to engage yourself in vipassana and be happy. Is intelligence important to progress in meditation? No. I have no intellect at all, and I didn't know anything about meditation or states of consciousness. I had a simple faith in the Dharma. I felt there was something there for me. With this simple faith, I began. What is the use of mindfulness? Let me tell you an example. If I told you there was some jewelry hidden somewhere and I asked you to go and collect it, you would leave your house and go to where it was hidden. On the way to find the jewelry, you might see a fight break out, and you would stop and watch. But after a while, you would proceed. You might see a marriage party going by with their drums, and you would stand there. But again, after a while, you would proceed. You might see a street rally, and you would stop and later proceed. If you are not mindful, you cannot reach your destination to collect the jewelry I have asked you to get. But whenever there is mindfulness, even if there are interruptions and obstacles, you will not get lost. You will proceed on. Mindfulness allows you to reach your goal. It is the great vocation in life, which leads to the end of suffering. Did the most important changes in your life come about during times of intensive practice, or as you lived your daily life in a meditative way? The great changes happened during intensive training, and then I cultivated them in my daily life. They became deeper and deeper that way. Did your sorrow and lamentation slowly drop away, or did it happen quickly as a result of insight? Gradually, I could feel it was going away, and then, after more meditation practice, I acquired some wisdom, and the whole thing disappeared. Who should teach meditation? There are two things for teaching. One is knowledge and understanding. The other is attainment, first or second stage of enlightenment. The following is Jack Kornfield's paraphrase of the rest of Dipa Ma's answer. The paramis, perfected virtues, for being a teacher are different from the paramis for practice. Basically, they are different skills. Some people may have quite good potential in their meditation and their spiritual life, and others might have a fine ability to communicate and teach. The two aren't necessarily the same, but for someone to teach, they would hopefully have both qualities of good and deep experience in their spiritual life, and the capacity to communicate it to others. What is the best thing to do when sense desires are strong? Meditate and focus your attention on them directly. Know that they are strong. Get to know them. Through knowing sense desire when it occurs, you can overcome it. You can stay in the world of sense desires and still be a good Buddhist, because you can be, quote, out of the world at the same time, in the sense of not being drawn in or attached. Has your basic understanding of life changed? My outlook has changed greatly. Before, I was too attached to everything. I was possessive. I wanted things. But now it feels like I'm floating, detached. I am here, but I don't want things. I don't want to possess anything. I'm living, that's all. That's enough. How do I practice metta, loving-kindness meditation? The following is a combination of Dipa-Ma's tape-recorded instructions and recollections from Michelle Levy, who for more than 20 years has practiced the loving-kindness meditation she learned from Dipa-Ma. You may choose to devote an entire meditation session to loving-kindness practice, or you may decide to begin or end with it. Eventually, the 5 distinct stages may be combined in one session, but at the beginning, it is best to focus on one at a time. First stage. The first stage is to love yourself, to be a best friend to yourself. Begin by extending loving-kindness to yourself. You can use the following words and mental images to guide you in generating and directing your feelings of loving-kindness. Let me be free from enemies. Let me be free of dangers. Let me be free of mental anxieties. Let me pass my time with good body and a happy mind. Enemies means both outward enemies and also being an enemy to yourself. Enemies can exist in the realm of our feelings, from the slightest irritation to the full force of hatred and ill will towards self or others. While saying these phrases silently, hold an image of yourself steadily and clearly. If you can't visualize yourself, try to remember how you look in the mirror. If this is difficult, try actually looking in a mirror or at a recent photo of yourself until you can see yourself clearly in your mind's eye. Repeat the phrases in order. If your mind wanders and you forget what phrase you're on, start from the beginning. Let me be free of enemies. Bringing the mind back to the phrases again and again will deepen your concentration. It is important to drop into the meaning and feeling beneath the words, letting the words be your guide, keeping you on track and anchored in the practice. Hold the feeling of well-being for yourself in your heart and mind, along with the mental image, and continue to repeat the phrases silently to yourself for as much time as your session permits. When it is done deeply, when you feel that you truly love yourself, when you can hold the image of yourself clearly and steadily, then, if you wish, you may go on to the next stage, which is to extend loving kindness to a good friend. Second stage. Using the same phrases as before, direct the loving kindness to a good friend or teacher who has been kind to you. As you did while sending loving kindness to yourself, now hold the image of this friend clearly and steadily in your mind, and extend loving kindness towards him or her. May you be free of enemies. May you be free of dangers. May you be free of mental anxieties. May you pass your time with good body and happy mind. When you find that you love your friend as yourself, or when you find that you can hold the image of the friend clearly and steadily along with the phrases, then, if you wish, you may go on to the next stage. Third stage. The next category of beings to send loving kindness to are called the sufferers. Any beings or groups of beings who are suffering. Whereas before you held a stable, one-pointed image of one person, now begin to expand your focus to encompass a larger number of beings. Begin by holding in mind one whole group of beings who are suffering. Extend your loving kindness to these beings the same way you did before with yourself and your friend. May you be free of enemies. May you be free of dangers. May you be free of mental anxieties. May you pass your time with good body and happy mind. If spontaneous images arise of other groups of suffering people, such as people in hospitals or in wars, then it's fine to direct your loving kindness to them, meditating in a dynamic way with the flow of changing images. Continue reciting the phrases while gradually focusing more and more on the feelings of loving kindness behind the words. From the foundation of truly and deeply loving yourself, see how self-love is the foundation and the fuel for loving others. In loving yourself, you love your friend as yourself. Then you love the sufferers like your friend, which is like yourself. With continued practice, all groups will merge into one. Fourth stage. In the fourth stage, loving kindness and equanimity blend together. The practice is to hold a vast sense of all living beings in one's mind, and to send metta to them all equally. Friends, people who suffer, people for whom your feelings are neutral, those with whom you have difficulties, all beings everywhere. May all beings be free of enemies. May all beings be free of dangers. May all be free of mental anxieties. May all pass their time with good body and happy mind. To do this, allow your mind to become loving kindness. Do this by attending primarily to the feeling of loving kindness. The words and phrases you've used up to this point have simply been pointers to the feeling. Allow your mind to become loving kindness, and rest in that with equanimity, not favoring where it goes. Fifth stage. The crowning stage of metta meditation is to combine all the stages and focus for a while on each of the stages in one meditation session. Practice in this way, the meditation becomes like a symphony of loving kindness, in which you start with yourself, and open, 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 until you finally come to rest and equanimity. End of chapter 12.